no.
Decided I was going to greet them as a surprise. This is what happens when I'm doing my standing desk. I have too much mobility. I can just do whatever I want. I'm so free.
I want to coordinate like that thing where all four of us just like turn around at the same time to greet the viewers. Hello.
Yeah, is it the slow turn? Or is it the?
It would be tough because like I want to
no,
line my mirrored image up with your guys' unmirrored. So how will it be?
Yeah.
We do it when the show starts because you count down.
No, that's true.
It's true.
So we can do it. You can see it here.
And for Halloween, we give him one of the creepy like down to up ones.
Oh, geez. So yeah, hey, we're doing an epilogue episode.
We are.
We played a campaign. We finished.
We played a campaign.
This is the first time I've finished a campaign. Thanks for coming along with me.
Hey.
Before this, it was I wouldn't call it necessarily a campaign, but I'd done sort of, multi-session adventures. I did that little piece of a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one I ran with the kids, they rebelled partway through the first one because they decided they wanted. Yeah, they all wanted lots of role playing, but then when I created things that required them to role play, they got very upset about it. And then they decided they wanted to do Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So we tried that. And then they realized they hated Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So we stopped. And then we did Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And then nobody's schedule worked all of a sudden. So they made it to the last Hag's Kingdom. They wanted to put on a play for her. And it didn't happen. So that one never finished. But
I have finished, I want to say 4.
Wow.
That I've run. Like as a player, I've played through 3. And yeah, cool. Like as a DM, like there's been ones that have been like varying degrees of length. I was running a Pathfinder game and a Star Wars game kind of at the same time with the same group. It was like, hey, we can meet up this night. Which one do you want to play? Okay, you want to play this one? We'll do this. And then like a majority of that group, because they were Navy guys, left. And so we were like, okay, we're gonna wrap these up. And so we ended both of those. And oh no, I've actually done more than that because I did Curse of Strahd and Tomb of Annihilation also. But I like most of the time I like running shorter ones. I don't want to run multi-year most of the time. Like this was fantastic. I loved this. This was a great length of a campaign, and kind of my ideal thing. Because even in the one that I did,
because it was longer than we intended. Some of this is we should save for the end. Right? But,
yeah, we'll save the talk about this show for the end. But yeah,
probably. I'm like, well, there's just a couple things to wrap up. So maybe before we'll do the epilogue scenes, and then after the break, we'll kind of just do a chat, like a post-mortem kind of thing. But then I remember that today that I thought we would have time to do the epilogues last week. And then you guys took 35 minutes to decide what to do with the occluded one. They wasn't that long. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have time. There's a question here. Rumpus asked, did any of the kids' shenanigans make it into the Idle Champs Wild Beyond the Witchlight? So I wrote most of that before they started playing. So no, it didn't. However, just as a touch point, if you're familiar, some of my favorite moments, the ranger decided that he wanted to challenge Agden Longscarf one-on-one and got dropped immediately. He was not expecting that. They did pick up the little scarecrow who is not in Idle Champions because I hate, despite the fact that I let them take 5 NPCs into the dungeon, I hate collecting NPCs because I don't like keeping track of them. And they very much wanted to just sort of like pit the hags against each other, and made like no rolls that worked for that. They really just thought they would go in and be like, hey, I heard your sister talking smack about you. You should go kill her. And I'm like, guys, I feel like you know that shouldn't work, but okay, let's try it. You rolled a 2. It didn't work. So but you know, I think they learned, because originally part of the problem with Dungeon of the Mad Mage was a lot of what that we did was the early levels, which are empty, right? The idea is like lots of adventurers have been through here. You're not going to find a lot of new stuff. And then once they started getting into the deeper levels, their plan was always, we attack it head on every time. And they went, the thing that killed it was they went through a portal to a level that was sort of beyond where they are, kind of walked in the back door of a drow stronghold. And rather than try to like be stealthy around the guards or like try to convince them of something, the wizard just cast Shatter. And I signaled very quickly, you guys are boned if you do this. And eventually, I think my son was like, I'm going back through. I was like, I also was like, this portal is going to close in this much time, because there was some mechanic for that. And the wizard was just like, nah, I'm going to keep going. I'm like, Ummer, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to find you.
Yeah.
So eventually most of them went, oh no, wait, I don't want that. I want to go back through. So yeah, but Wild Beyond the Witchlight taught them, don't necessarily come out swinging, especially because they like the first combat they encountered, I think my son went to 0, everybody else got hit pretty hard, and then like the next kind of thing was going up against this Harangon gang leader, and yeah, the ranger's like, I'm gonna challenge him. I'm like, not gonna go well at all. Anyway, you know how to do that in Idle Champions, thank goodness.
Yeah. Blissford said, what is finished? I've completed two-year arcs, but the characters are only up to level 11. So here's the thing. I think a campaign is anywhere where you start a story and you finish the story. If the story has an ending to it, that was a campaign. I did Curse of Strahd from level 1 to 9, and that took about a year. A little less than a year. That was a campaign. Did Tomb of Annihilation, went from level 1 to I think also 9, and that was a campaign. So yeah, my thing is, if it has an ending, it's a campaign. I don't care how long it is.
I mean, so because I was like, because I've never DM'd other than like a couple, the one shots. What if I played and that ended? And I'm like, I don't know until like Westgate Irregulars that I had been in one that actually had a story ending. Oh. Like I did one in college that I think, summer break came up, and I don't remember where we got to in the other one. And then when I was in grad school, I was doing a campaign or a game at the comic book store, and that was super like dungeon crawly, because it was, whatever sort of group of people they pulled together, and it was an employee of the store DMing it to, bring business into the store. Yeah. And I got kicked out because I didn't buy enough from the store.
That's wild.
Not literally like kicked out, but they had like 2 a week, and then it was the same employee or different employees anyway. They had to go down to 1 a week, so they had to winnow their set of players they allowed in these games. And so apparently they looked at the whole like set of players, and they were like, okay, he is incredibly annoying, and this person and that person. And then like I was the last one who was cut, and it was because I didn't buy enough. And they're like, it's not because you're a bad person.
That's wild.
Not like these assholes.
Essentially.
Yeah,
I mean, we did have like one of the players was the player with the like, I don't know, pixie or something, but little like flying character, but she had like he had the art of her, and it was like the cantaloupes strapped to the baseball bat kind of art.
Oh my god.
And I was a little sort of like playing like a female character, like cool, awesome. Playing the like cantaloupes on a baseball bat female character, like not into that, thanks.
Yeah.
So
I will say for finishing campaigns though, I've gone on record saying I fully endorse that. I think people should put endings on games far more often than they happen. Because like, I mean, even in anime, like I like a short anime that's like, here is a story, and then there's the ones where it's like, this is 1,000 episodes long. Like,
well, I've even been doing that in books lately, because I have a book on my Kindle and I'm a little ways through it, and you know, Kindle tells you the percent and left to go and how long, and I'm just like, oh, this is so long. And then I have another one where it's a mystery series, it's a little self-contained mystery, and I read it and I'm like, oh, but these characters, and then I got the next one and I'm like, oh, but these characters, and then I'm waiting in the hold queue for the next one at the library. But it probably, like, those three together would be longer than the long book, but just somehow like having the little break of like, we've resolved the thing.
Well, like, even like, you know, I hear players all the time talk about like, oh, I have so many characters that I want to play. I'm like, well, if you did shorter campaigns, you could do them.
I find this really fascinating, and this is me telling on myself, because this is not a thing I do. Like, I ideally want to know, like, what is the campaign, what is the setting, and then I make a character and I anchor it to the game and the setting. And so when I can't do that, I'm like, I don't understand the question.
I don't remember where I was talking about this, but I literally had this conversation with my players recently, because they were talking about, like, they were in a situation where, like, oh, their characters might die, or so they're like, oh, it's fine, I've got backups. I'm like, that is wild to me. Like, I don't have anyone waiting in the wing. Like, right. It is tied to the story in this and what we're doing here.
Right. Like, at best I would say, like for example, like with Westgate Irregulars, we did not know initially that it was going to be set in Westgate, but we knew it was in Forgotten Realms, right? So we can anchor in Forgotten Realms. And I had like 3 premises that I actually made people on Forgotten Realms archives vote on. And Cecilia was the premise that people liked the most. So had Cecilia died an untimely death, I would have gone to Zaroshni, my teenage Dragonborn cleric, or Remzi from Brimstone Angels, the teenage tiefling fighter with the uncontrollable dog. Right, but that's as close as I could get, because I don't have this like stockpile of kind of cool things, because who are you if you don't have any space to exist in? Which is honestly, the one time there's a game called Invisible Sun, which I think is super cool. But the thing I really struggled with is that the premise really is that you have never been in the world until now. And so it is a game of discovery, which is really cool. But every time I tried to make a character, I wanted something to anchor on. And the DM was like, no, not that, because it doesn't work like that. I'm like, well, how does it work? And she's like, I can't tell you. And I got so angry and frustrated. And I actually ended up making her that I really liked, but she was like mechanically kind of busted, because there were things that I chose that it turned out were very much a bad idea. And because there was all this stuff that you didn't know up front, which can be fun, but I found it frustrating, because on the one hand, I couldn't sort of see the shape of the story I wanted to tell. Like, what is the question? What is the obstacle? And then stuff like, well, I feel like she's somebody who wouldn't have a house. Well, having a house turns out to be super important. Even though it's an option not to have a house, you shouldn't pick that. So, no, I'm with you.
Yeah. Like, and that's why that's why I love session zeros as a player. Like, as I those are some of my favorite sessions ever, is just getting together with the group and everyone talking about like characters that they want to do and what they've got going on, and like, okay, how do I tie my character into this? And like, I'm usually the one that is taking the longest to make something, because I'm going through all these character ideas and everything before I really settle down on something. There was another thing I was gonna say there, and I can't remember what it was. ADHD took it away. Goodbye.
It'll come back.
Yeah. But yeah, I did actually try to sit down and make a character. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna make my character from Dark Souls as a D&D character. I was like, I'm gonna have that hanging in the background. And I got bored. I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess like it's there. I I don't really have anything to do with it now. But my friends, they love it. They love doing that. One of my friends used to text me like their builds, and they're like, yeah, in combat I can do this, and this in a turn. I'm like, cool.
But how does it make you feel?
Yeah, that was essentially what I came down to. I was just like, yeah, but like, what about the character? Like, how are they? And he's like, well, he's a monk who has a pet golden retriever because it gives him trip. And I'm like, okay, but like, why does he have the golden retriever? Like, how did he and the golden retriever come along? No idea.
I think I'm definitely more on the gamer side, where like I'm more like your friend, and I'm like, you know, I love to celebrate the fact that he did the research and like picked the golden retriever, and because he decided to have that golden retriever, like I will just say yes until that golden retriever is like an important part of the campaign and like key to beating the BBEG or something at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love like the intersection between like game mechanics and like characters, like storylines.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's not me. I don't click with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's, you know, I like it.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, and I am sure plenty of people in chat right now do as well, and they're like, Trevor, you're freaking weird. I understand.
That's why D&D is such a great game, because there's like so many different ways to play and tell stories together, and so many different styles that can get together and play together.
100%.
I think like as a DM, like I love that, and being able to go like, this is now a story item over here. Like, oh, you don't have a backstory for your dog? I do.
Yes, exactly.
I will say that is
as long
really
as
nice.
you don't go, no, the dog needs to not have any kind of entanglements. I don't want to engage with that kind of thing. Like, I'm not gonna mess up your dog.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess up your dog, Aaron M. Evans.
I might make it be from another plane, or be, you know, a shape changed something.
Secret devil.
Some of my favorite times as a DM.
Listen, I have a brand to uphold, okay?
So my favorite times as a DM has been,
What was life-changing for me for character building is D&D Beyond.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Thinking back before, because like I hate the mechanical part of like you know, you have your player's handbook or something, and it's like, all right, read all the flavor text. No, don't read that flavor text, but like that part's important, so only skim until there. And I don't care like about flavor text necessarily. I'm just like, all right, I gotta pick something. Now I gotta flip. And the whole like D&D Beyond being like A or B. Now choose 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like,
yes.
Because I just don't want
a drop down menu.
Yes, so nice.
I have to call out Rumpus saying, I will, however, mess up your hands. Haha. Do I mess up anybody's hands, just for the record? Yet?
I don't.
You're good about doing it to your own hands. Like you had Cecilia with the hand thing. That she was flirting with it with. Oh, okay.
I do feel like something was attempting to mess up Florian's hand at one point, but I like counterspelled it or something. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but for people who don't know, I mangle people's hands in my books without meaning to.
Without meaning to?
Get into it. I don't do it on purpose. I just subconsciously go there. Apparently, I'm very afraid of it.
We get the draft, and it's like, oh, there's the hand thing.
Right? Yeah, I really thought that I managed to break the curse with Gift of Guthix. And then I remembered I made someone's hand get chopped off in a war. And then when I revised it, I made it happen on the page. So I didn't break it. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Again, it's not like I'm like, where does the hand chopping go? It's like I write the whole thing, and then it's like, do you know you chopped someone's hand off? Or like smashed it, or lopped a finger off? I'm like,
I just imagined you standing in the office, dim light, the whiteboard up there with all the plot points. Where's the hand chopping go?
I have done that for some stuff. I forget if I hit it in all of them because I got bored with it. But for at least the first several silver books, there was always a raven somewhere. like that was visible or cawing in the background. Yeah. But that was very sort of like a little Easter egg kind of thing that I would insert it later in the process.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's like the type of tip you could drop at your readings or cons for like readers to spot.
Sorry, Bookish Barbarian said, "Oh, I should start on my Relics of Ruin bingo card. Got to have hand trauma square."
This is the fun thing. I don't remember what it is in Relics of Ruin. I just know that I was like, well, I didn't avoid it in Relics of Ruin, so I have to avoid it in Gift of Guthix, and then I didn't. So I don't remember when the hand trauma happens, but I feel like I remember that it does. So I don't know. Find it.
Love it. Love it.
You know what I discovered at Joshua Tree National Park, though, is like, because that's more a raven biome. They're certainly around in the Pacific Northwest, but they're not like where you're living. They're out in the, nature parks. And in and around Joshua Tree, like they were taking over the loud garbage eater sort of like niche that crows do in the Pacific Northwest. So like I know that like they're all loud garbage eaters, but the weight of metaphor hangs more easily on the raven's shoulders for me, until like at the Palm Springs airport, they have this like raven riot in the palm trees, like screaming at each other, probably over something in the dumpsters.
Not being the right kind of dramatic.
I do feel like loud garbage eater was my nickname in college.
What?
I was very loud, and I stuff I ate was trash. It wasn't out of the trash. Probably wasn't good for me though. A lot of monster
I have issues with crows, but
they
ain't done nothing to me yet. Yeah, there was where my office used to be.
I know this story.
Yeah, you do. It's deep trauma, man. It keeps coming up.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh because I bet it was very scary. At a distance, it is also a little funny. As long as it's not still happening. Anyway, sorry. Tell your story.
There was a nest in the tree next to my office building, and I think something was wrong with that crow couple because they were late in the season and they didn't warning call. They would just dive bomb you. And so like I'd be trying to get into work, and then you get this like the deep sort of like self-preservation instincts at the base of my brain is like something is coming for your head. And so you feel this sort of like whiff, like that something was going to get the back of your head, only that they're just like going by. And so that's like freaky. But the thing about dive bombing crows is that when they are trying to defend their nest, they don't stop until you're like 2 or 3 blocks away.
Oh, geez.
They do it as you leave. So the thing is, you're like, do, and then you start hearing warning calls, and you like see a nest or you see their center of activity, and you're like, oh, shoot, okay, I'll go another way. And then you turn around to go, and that's when they get you. So you can't win. Like, you can't get out of the situation. If you come into the perimeter,
damn if you do,
you are going to get dive bombed.
You're like, I was listening to you. I was doing what you wanted.
And actually, the way that I discovered, like, because I have to get to work, right? They don't come for your face. I think that they are afraid that you will, like, get them.
Yeah.
So they only go for the back of your head. So if you can find a way, if you know where the nest is and where they are sitting, if you, like, watch them, you can often get by. But that depends, because I've been dive bombed by like a group. I think there must have been multiple nests. This was by Corey's house recently. And like there was just nothing I could do. I'm like going along beneath the street trees because they can't get, like, if there's, stuff that they're gonna fly into. Got my hood up. So now in crow season, when I always
gotta get a hood that's got a face on the back.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what would happen if you just wore like faces on every side of your head and the top?
Yeah, you just be many faces. Yeah.
I bet they wouldn't be fooled. Crows are smart. Yeah,
they are smart.
This does make me think of my.
And their what's the word I'm looking for? They don't quit.
Yeah. This does make me think of one of my favorite SNL skits, though, the John Mulaney and Kate McKinnon bird skit. It's absolutely hilarious. If you have not seen that, please look that up.
Yes, look it up because it is 6:25 and we have to take our break. So
okay, but thank you, Bookish Barbarian. That's persistent is the word I was trying to say.
There you go.
We'll be back.
I kept trying to say persuasive.
Bye.